Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again, back with another video. This one is hopefully going to be a short one because we're going to be talking about Embedded Event Manager. Not that too much stuff to say about that, but there's something I am going to say how this can trick you up for my people that's going for their CCIEs. Now, this video is sponsored by my own merch, and this is another shirt that you know if you look at it, this says "Did you lab today?" This is a shirt that is based on the question I ask people who are asking me, people I'm meeting just out in the real world, not just on social media, and they're asking me what it takes. And I always say, well, did you lab today? Well, did you lab today? Well, did you lab today? So I made a shirt that says my actual saying of, did you lab today? Now, this shirt is perfect for someone that's going for their test and you're thinking about, you know, giving them something to just remind them to keep them encouraging or keep encouraging them on labbing. So now, when they get frustrated and they look in the mirror, they can say, "Did I lab today?" And they have to have an honest conversation with themselves and say, "No, I didn't lab today. Let me get back in the lab." Now, before we get into EEM, you know what I'm about to ask you guys. Please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to kick it up a notch, consider becoming a member. That helps me, support the channel here, buy gear, AWS, Azure networking. It helps me kind of fund that a little bit. And then if you're studying for your CCNA, or CCNP and RC, or CCP Encore, I do have some guides on that that'll help you keep those topics that you kind of forget when you finish reading those books, keep them fresh in your brain. If you want to learn how to troubleshoot like a two-time CCIE, because that is one of the most important skills you're going to learn in this game, I have 3 guides on that as well. Now, let me let you guys know these guys are DRM protected. That means you're going to have to use Lock Lizard to open these files, and you need a license. So it's not a straight PDF. So if that's what you're looking for, that is not what this is. You will have to get a license to get the guides. Just want to get that out the way. So there will be no whiteboard on this. We're going to go straight to the lab. I'm going to show you exactly what EEM kind of looks like. All right, so this is EEM. We just got 2 switches, man. This is not going to be some complicated, super complicated lab. So basically, what EEM is it is a embedded event manager, and what it does is it will look at events and then take either just its informative stuff or it'll take a corrective action. Now, as you can see, EEM right there keeps going nuts. Like I have an applet called interface shutdown. Now I do have something called a watch guard for this, so it's going to try to run this, I think every 20 seconds. But basically, what happens is, and I'm using VIOS as well because the IOL images don't work per se. You can configure it, but for some reason they don't work on the IOL images. So if we look at our event manager, I just want to show you the configs straight out. So, what are we looking for here? Actually, I should have said begin, because you're not going to see the syslog part. I might take that watch guard out because that is really annoying. All right, so let's see what we got here. So there is something missing out of this, which is perfect because now you get to see me do this live. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the watch guard because that watch guard is super annoying. Or you know what? I'll give it like a 60-second wait time. All right. So now let's go begin with event manager. If that doesn't work, I'm just going to remove it because that is super annoying. So yeah, it's still giving that time. So let's take this off first. So basically, that watch guard is going to run it a bunch of times, or you can delay when this thing actually runs. I got it on every 10 seconds, and that's super annoying. So I'm going to just remove it, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's see what we got. Oh, that wait time is still there, so no. Let's just do no event manager timer. Too many E's. Wait, where am I at here? There we go. Watch go. So we're gonna take that off. Yeah, I know I don't have any events registered. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this up where we shut down this interface. And I want to grab something in particular here for the event manager. So that line where it says line protocol, that's what we're going to look for the event. So we're going to log in here. I'm going to go to event, syslog, pattern, because this is a pattern we're looking for. And then I'm going to copy this pattern in here. And enter. Now let's just save that, and then we're going to see what that looks like from the event manager standpoint, because we need the event to basically trigger the actions. So basically what this does is, now if I did put the watch guard back in there, it would rerun this. So I probably will put that back in there. So what this does is going to look for the syslog for this specific pattern. And if it finds that specific pattern, it's going to run these commands below. So it's going to go enabled, configure, it's going to go under the interface I just shut down, run a no shut, end it, and then save it. Okay? So right now, show interface status, that should be disabled right now. So now, if I go back into this applet and put that watch guard back, so event, timer, watch guard, what kind of name do we want to give this? Let's say wait time. And I will do, how many seconds do I want to do this on? Enter in seconds. Let's say 20 seconds. So now, if we wait, hopefully wait 20 seconds, it'll see that event in the event log. I might have to manually no shut and shut it again to kick this in, but we're going to wait 20 seconds, and hopefully within 20 seconds it will bring the interface back up. And there you go. So what happened is it waited 20 seconds to see that pattern existed, and then as you can see, it ran the EEM, and then it brought my interface back up without me having to touch it. And that's really the benefit here of this is, you know, scripting from you know, you can script certain things like, oh, if you see something in the logs, I just want to verify that that was up because you saw it was disabled a few seconds ago. So we went up here, you see it was disabled. And then when we finally ran the EEM, it ran those commands, turned it, ran it and turned it back on, or no shut the port, which is what you want. And if we just validate the event manager again, just so you can see the whole configuration. Oh, it actually removed it. Why did it? Oh, you know what? Let's take the timer out. I think the timer's overriding what I want. So let's go here, here. I'm gonna remove that and just do it because I wanted to just be automatic. Oh, fat fingering. I'm not on the home row keys, people. So no event timer, watchdog. So we're just gonna get rid of that. And then I'm gonna scroll back up here. And just gonna grab this command. Luckily I printed it out earlier. So we'll do this. And then you're gonna see, hopefully that kicked in. I think that event timer is just doing that. It's overriding the pattern because it's only one event that is technically going on. So we're going to do one. I wanted to show you both, but it is what it is. All right. So let's just say that's what it's looking for in the syslogs, right? So what we're going to do now is, let's show our interface status, and you'll see this automatically happen. So now you see we are connected, right? So if I go into this interface though, and I go G00 and I shut it down, what should happen is it should bring it down, syslog should kick in, and then the EEM runs, and then it brings it back up. And that's exactly what happened. So that syslog messages came up, the EEM noticed that pattern in the syslog, then it brought the interface back up. So immediately, okay? So again, you're going to use that to do some minor scripting and stuff like that. Now, where can this burn you in the lab? So they might be looking for something that you did. Let's say they have an ACL on an interface, and that ACL is blocking something. Say it's blocking like ICMP. No, I'm not going to say ICMP. Say it's blocking like ISACEP. Let's talk about like GRE tunnels or something like that with encryption on it. And they might have an ACL on the underlay that's blocking, 500, 4500, 50. So they're blocking that. And they tell you you can't modify the ACL. They might say you can't modify anything. They're not going to tell you exactly what the answer is, but they might say you can't modify port configurations. And they have something like this that will check or will run every 300 seconds. So what they're doing is they will have something that goes, and I'll show you what the event, because you just saw it a few minutes ago. So what they will do is they'll have something, instead of this pattern, they'll have that WatchGuard timer that I've technically had before, and they will put that ACL back on the port. So they'll have the ACL configured, and then they'll go enable, configure, they'll go in the interface, and then they'll have that access list applied to that interface, and they'll save it. And how they'll get you is you'll be like, oh, well, that's the problem. I can remove that ACL from the port. If they allow you to do that, by the way. Remember, you got to read the task and see if they allow you to do that. But let's just say they do. So you remove that ACL off the port, your tunnels come up, DMVPN is working or something, or whatever they got, Flex, DMVPN, whatever's working. And then you go on to another task. And then 3 hours later, when you're not paying attention, this thing runs in the background and it puts the ACL back on there, and now your DMVPN is not working. And you're like, I know I removed that ACL. Why is it back there? And you're thinking it's you. You're like, oh, I might have thought I removed the ACL and I didn't. And then you remove it again. And then you go to the lab, you'll fix something else. And this thing kicks in again, because it's not going to be immediate. They'll probably wait like 300 seconds because they know you're going to be busy doing something else. And that thing kicks in again, and then DMVPN is down. But this time, you don't go back and verify that DMVPN is working because you thought you fixed it the last time because you saw the ACL wasn't removed and you removed it. So you're like, oh, no, I'm good. And then you go get your score and you fail because DMVPN wasn't working. Now, you don't know that because they're not going to tell you you failed on DMVPN. You just made the assumption that it was working, right? You verified it, everything's up and ready, but you didn't realize that in 300 seconds, in 5 minutes, they're pretty much going to revert the configuration back to the way it looked. So that's why you always got to double check, because this is that little stuff that Cisco will trip you up on if you're not paying attention. So look at the running config, and if you see some EEM template and they're doing something weird, you may be able to remove that if they don't specify in the task that you can't remove something. But you would use this on a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just not, you can take any syslog message and you can actually, if OSPF was down for some reason, you can, map it to a syslog message for, adjacencies. And then it could send mail to you to say, hey, OSPF problem, fix it. Say whatever you want. Now, if you do that, you got to make sure you can actually do an SMTP relay so you can get the message. But that's, EEM in a nutshell. Let's get out of this lab and let's talk about what you just saw. So that was it, man. That was EEM in a nutshell. Something I just quickly cooked up because I was messing around with some other stuff, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I ever did a video on EEM. And some people might read on it, but they don't really know what it is. So something real quick and sweet. I'm around 15 minutes right now. And for my people that's going for the CCIE, this could trip you up in your lab. So you better make sure that when you are configuring stuff and you're doing your verifications, you better make sure that they don't have something in here like this that could slip up and have something work in 1 minute and then 5 minutes later it's not working and you don't go back and check, and then you lose points and you could possibly fail because of it. Now, outside of that, just make sure if you have it, always ask the question, did you lab today? I lab every day. Doesn't matter what it is. I lab every day. In fact, I was labbing Flex VPN today based on a question that me and some I'm not gonna say his name, but we talk almost every day. We were talking about Flex VPN, and I decided to do Flex VPN with BGP. My last video was with I think EIGRP, but I did it with BGP, and I may show that video next. If you want to see that, just put something in the comments saying you want to see what BGP looks like with Flex VPN, and I'll show you what to do on that. Now, if you like this video, like I said, and you haven't done it already, please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the video. Consider becoming a member if you want to help me, sponsor this channel and help me get more gear, stuff like that, so I can put out videos like this. If you're studying for your CCNA, CCNP Encore, CCNP, and RC, I do have some guys that will help you keep the knowledge in your head from all the books you read and all the labbing you're doing and make you more prepared when you're going into your exams. Also, I have some guys on how to, troubleshoot like a 2-time CCIE, which I am, because that is one of the most important skills while you're out in the field. It's not about memorizing a whole bunch of commands. That's, anybody can do that. You can Google that. But if I put you in front of a CLI and you just blank out, then you really don't know the technology to begin with, right? Also, live in Wireshark. That's a little bonus tip. Live in Wireshark. I live in Wireshark. I love to see how protocols actually work under the hood. So this is Don from Padlock Technologies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, and have a nice day.